Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach, Jeff Copper. I'm here today to kind of talk about a phenomena that many of you experience. But recently I did a video and have released a program called Cognitive Ergonomics from the Inside Out. It takes an engineering approach to solving ADHD problems and is really a very different intervention than coaching or therapy. It's very black and white. Let's get rid of all the feelings and take a look at objective fact. And I wanted to share with you some insights that I've gotten from the program and relate it to everyday life. Recently, I was coaching an individual, and they were acknowledging that many times they have notifications that are going off and they're a little bit overwhelming. And we're getting a general conversation about how they feel disorganized and it's not working. And they were looking for a tool. And I kind of said, let's stop for a second and remove all the emotions and the quick fix, and let's understand what's kind of going on. So one of the things that I've done some videos on, I talk about the booting up process, the getting into the flow. In my cognitive ergonomics program, we go through and we talk about what it is to get into the flow, how it's very, very effortful. It's not very exciting. Now, when people get into the flow, they tend to be okay, but they have a hard time getting into the flow. Understand is that if you're sitting there working on a task and you're in the flow or kind of a semi-flow, when a notification comes up for you to do something, often you don't address the notification because if you did, it would be to disrupt the flow. And so from an outward perspective, you look at it and say, I'm looking for tips and tools and notifications, and they're not working. But at the same time, if you understand what's going on from a cognitive perspective, you begin to understand is you're not addressing the notification because you're deep in thought. And to stop and interrupt that deep thought would mean that you would literally probably have to get back into the flow, which takes a lot of effort, and almost start over again. What does this insight do for you? Well, it's a lot because it explains a lot of why those notifications and stuff isn't working. Often people with ADHD, they're late to things because they're in the flow and they're not going to stop until they get whatever they're done. That's not a time management problem. It's actually kind of a working memory and productivity problem. So how would you solve for that? Well, you got to be conscious about what the task is and be careful not to start it when you're going to get disruptive. As a coach, I don't coach on Fridays. That's my day to do things like this. It's times where I'm not going to get interrupted and I can go for long periods of time and finish things so that I don't have to break the flow and what's going on. Here's the point. My cognitive ergonomics program that I've developed is to try to help people look at the facts, not the feelings. And in this situation, I'm really just trying to illustrate a lot of times the tools don't really work because we're not actually understanding the cognitive reason why they're not working. And to share insights like this, we can begin to understand it's not necessarily a tool. It's more your understanding of the cognitive process and be able to understand and arrange things a little bit differently in order to accommodate some of that stuff. It really comes down to some awareness. So with that, if you're new to our channel, I like to post videos on this to try to help people understand ADHD at a deeper level. If you're an existing subscriber, I'm hoping that you saw my video on cognitive ergonomics and you're starting to understand some of the concepts that apply to that. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button and join us. We try to share something each week with regard to this. So with all that, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Take care.